So here is the dilemma for this movie. So you have this rising superstar with all the charisma and all the looks and, to be honest, a quite good chunk of talent also. The problem is, in this movie he's supposed to be an Irish IRA sympathizer. So you need, of course, to have him have an Irish accent. Now, Irish accents are very difficult to do without it either sounding ridiculous or as a total parody. Now, I don't know personally how Brad Pitt's accent is compared to other bad Irish accents. It is, for instance, not as terrible as Russell Crowe's is in that weird movie with Will Smith. However, if you don't have him have an Irish accent, then everybody's going to question, why doesn't he have an Irish accent if he's supposed to be Irish? So your solution would probably be then, well, then we have somebody who is actually Irish. 1996, 1997 wasn't exactly bountiful of Irish actors they could use. Technically they could have used Colin Farrell. He was 21 at the time and had made some movies, but it was virtually unknown. But this was the late 90s, and that meant that in order to sell movies, you needed movie stars, and you needed to have at least 2 of them, so you could, have them on the poster. Today it's more about the characters. We don't go to see Chris Evans in a movie, we go to see Captain America. But enough about that. Let's talk about The Devil's Own. So Brad Pitt plays Roy, an IRA terrorist with an objective. He realizes that the IRA, in order to fight the British military, needs to up their arsenal and get more firepower. In order to combat the helicopters, they need Stingray missiles. So Roy takes his fake passport and his fake Irish accent and goes to the United States East Coast to try to acquire one, and gets to live with Tony O'Mara, Harrison Ford, along with his family. So he tries to live his double life as, having a legit job that he goes to, and at the same time trying to work out the deal with the Stingray missiles. And Harrison slowly starts to realize that Roy isn't all that he seems to be. And of course they form a bond, and he gets emotionally attached to the family that he lives with, because he's alone himself. So the question is he gonna get the Stingray missiles? Is Harrison Ford going to find out who he is? And if he does, what's gonna happen? The Devil's Own has a great veteran director, Alan J. Pakula, who of course did All the President's Men, and they have a still awesome Harrison Ford and one on the rise, Brad Pitt. This should have been a really good movie, but this is a lukewarm, quite bland movie. It's neither high adrenaline action, it's not nail-biting thriller, it's not an interesting character study. It becomes a sort of bland version of all 3 of these great concepts. And also the movie, it's terribly predictable what's going to happen after a very short while. Apparently Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt weren't the best of friends on set. It was a clash of egos, and it was a clash with the studios. Brad Pitt was really disappointed with this movie, especially because of all the rewrites and all the reshoots that turned this movie into something he really didn't like. I can see that there is a good movie trying to fight its way out, but can't quite do it. It's probably buried under all those reshoots or rewrites, I guess. Despite this movie not being 2 hours long, it feels rather long. This type of movie could have used a Hitchcockian level of suspense, but it never does. It all the time feels like it's it's a movie that's being held back. Despite all this money and all this talent being pulled into it, it feels like a TV movie almost. I really like the ending, despite the fact that you can see it coming a mile away. This might be because of the star power on screen. There isn't anything terribly wrong with this movie, it's just not that interesting. This movie also fails when it comes to showing the conflict in the Northern Ireland in another way than people are killing each other. It's bad. So this is not a movie I'm probably never gonna see again. It's okay. It's a little too long. It doesn't really have that much at stake, I feel. It didn't really feel like anything mattered that much. It's pretty predictable. It's not very surprising that it was forgotten very fast. Despite Alan J. Pakula's great efforts of bringing life into this story, I can't give it any more than 39. I mean, we still have great actors in form of Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt, and the supporting cast is totally fine, but kind of forgettable. This movie never levels up. It never kicks in the second gear. It remains totally serviceable throughout this entire existence, except the ending, which was quite good. Another great autumn day here in Stockholm. Well, see you next time. This is Vikstrand signing out.